All right, after we went through that beautiful explanation, we are moving on to some review questions. Are you ready? Are you ready?
I can't hear you.
Okay, now you're ready. All right, here we go. So let's bring it in. Look at the following exhibit. We're looking on the side of a laptop, and I need you to go ahead and name each one of the ports that you see here. So take a second, take it all in, try to do this yourself live, and very good. So the first thing we see here is VGA. The next thing we see is an RJ45. That is going to be for your patch cable, your networking cable. Then we have an HDMI. HDMI is your most common video display port. You're probably going to see them on pretty much everything. And now we have some USB. Well, since we're talking about display, I'm just going to take a wild guess here that the USB they're referring to in here are the brand new USB version 3.2, which run at 20 gigabit and support video alongside of data transmission. What are we looking at here? Holy moly, that is a DVI. So what type is it? The answer is it's a DVI-I. So I meaning analog or digital. And the one to the right here, and this is very hard to tell from other ones. This one's hard to kind of visually know, but that's a display port. All right, so kind of get used to these because yes, we're all here to pass the exam. The exam is my first responsibility to you, and I will promise you every objective on your test is being covered in each one of these core classes. I have checked them all off as I created the material, and it's all in there. But we also need to know this stuff for real life world experiences. All right, you don't want to be on your first day at a job and not be able to identify a port when your boss is standing behind you. So let's make sure we're visually covering concepts. Which interface does the adapter cable shown below here? What are we doing? Well, that looks like DVI. Excuse me, that is DVI to DisplayPort. And I'm going to go ahead and go. See, didn't get that one correct. So let's go again. This is DVI-I, which is analog or digital. And that is to an HDMI, which looks very similar to a DisplayPort. So I'm going to go ahead and give myself a little leadway on that one. All right, a customer is shopping for a computer game. It's for a daughter, and he wants to know if you can explain the reference to DirectX on the packaging. He's reading the game, and it says, make sure that you have a graphics-compatible DirectX. What do we kind of say? Briefly, we talked about this, but this is why we go over these review questions. DirectX is Microsoft's Application Program Interface, or API, and multimedia applications, for all its multimedia applications. So its software, such as a computer game, will specify a minimum DirectX version. The vendor often provides support through driver updates, even for older cards that you have, graphics cards. So the DirectX is the software embedded on the graphics card, depending on what version they have in there, which supports and interacts with the operating system, Microsoft, to display a lot of graphics, especially through games. That's why the person is holding the game in front of them and it says, make sure that you have DirectX version, whatever, compliant. You're configuring 2 monitors to extend desktop mode. So this is where we got one monitor and then I drag my cursor to another, but both are displaying different information. It says, what should you configure in the display dialog box? Here's a really important one too. Ensure the layout of the displays in the dialog box match their physical location. That was the first thing we talked about. Make sure the monitors in the box match how the cursor is going to move. If not, just grab the box in the actual utility, in the display utility, and hop it in front or behind. The second, which they will show you on a test, and I'll do this with my pointer here, is if you had one display and inside the box where you do the setting, one of the boxes were high and the other box was low. If one's up high and one's down low, you're not going to be able to move your cursor correctly. Maybe the only way to get to the other monitor is through the bottom of the first monitor screen. This is a question or a scenario you'll see on the exam. And how do you fix it? You align both monitors in the box of the utility correctly. So you just make sure they're evenly set next to each other.